Warren barnstorms Minnesota just days before their state fair kicks off.
The climate crisis we're in today, it's 25 years of corruption in Washington. If we want to fight back, it's going to take big structural change. You ready for that?
Well, she is one of several of the 2020 hopefuls to visit the state this campaign cycle. So, is Minnesota the left's key to winning 2020? Or could socialism flip the North Star state and the election to President Trump? Pollster and GOP strategist Justin Wallin joins us now to weigh in. Good morning, Justin. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You know, so she had a pretty good crowd last night. What did you think?
Well, I think she's there for a very good reason. Democrats recognize that Trump lost Minnesota by less than 2% in 2016. It's a remarkably slim margin for a supposed Democratic stronghold. And it's the smallest margin of any Republican presidential candidate in memorable history. So, I mean, Minnesota represents a real problem for Democrats. And I think there's three very distinct issues why. The first is historic. Minnesotans are remarkably independent-minded. These are the same folks who elected Jesse Ventura as governor.
Yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah, absolutely. They're very independent, and Trump is the quintessential independent president. The second is the economy. The economy is absolutely booming. And if it continues to do well, jobs-focused Minnesota is going to be hard-pressed to see a meaningful reason for change. And the final reason is this, what you mentioned earlier on, this distinct hard left turn by Democratic presidential candidates.
Yeah.
I mean, they've gone absolutely socialist. They're regarding President Obama as too conservative. If President Obama is too conservative, Bill Clinton is akin to George Bush Jr. It's not something that lines up, I believe, with Minnesota's kind of moderate Democratic
the Minnesota
clientele.
Nice.
Yeah, that's exactly
Minnesota
right.
Nice. Since you mentioned past elections, let's bring that up very quickly for everyone at home. You're right. Back in 2016, Hillary Clinton, you can see barely squeaking by President Trump. And then you see 2012, President Obama, and then 2008, President Obama winning then as well. I wanted to ask you something, though, because speaking of socialism, we can bring this poll up as well. Voters' impression of socialism, 55% overall think it's negative. And so I was wondering, as I was looking through the posts on social media and listening to some of the commentators about Elizabeth Warren, they're referring to her now as a quiet liberal populism. That's what she's kind of trying to run as and kind of get away from the extreme left.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting brush to kind of wield, isn't it? I think if American voters understand policy, and this election, although it's touted in many ways about being about personality, it is about policy, and American voters do value policy. And if you look at Elizabeth Warren's policies that she's trumpeting, they are distinctly socialist. So I think, so far, the presidential Democratic field has done President Trump a great favor in this hard left turn. I mean, they're trying to compete against each other in this internecine warfare that you always see in a primary. But this is a gift to the Republican candidate because, as you say, I mean, Americans just don't view socialism with a positive eye. And there's a perfect poster child for this, if you will, in Minnesota. I mean, their own Representative Omar is very vocal, increasingly known, and extremely socialist on all these different issues, including the Green New Deal. And Omar has less than a 10% approval rating in Minnesota. If you compare that approval rating with President Trump's approval rating, I think you have the distinction that pretty much tells the story.
And her approval rating has gone down significantly. You know, and compared to the squad, remember when Elizabeth Warren was the most extreme that we talked about? That doesn't appear to be the case anymore. Thank you so much for joining us, Justin. We appreciate it.
Thank you.